All right, thank you for staying with us. And hey, it's the conversation, uh, cannot just but be about the state of insecurity in Nigeria and with what we have been seeing, in the past less than 10 days or thereabout. The attack in Eruku in Kwara State on worshippers are actually that was captured live, from a live video feed on Facebook that was being recorded, to publicize a particular program that was happening in that church. And that was how we saw how bandits, came into that church, abducted, killed. And we learned the worshippers, 38 of them have been returned, as in Kwara State. And then the KB abduction, 24 students of the government girls secondary school, that happened in Maga, Danko Wasaku local government. And of course, the Papiri abduction, St. Mary Catholic School, Catholic institution, actually, where children were captured. And the numbers have been varying. Some said 200, some said 265, some said almost 300, because these are some of the issues as well. And so, where are we on this matter? We learned 50 of those Papiri abducted children, escaped. Some said they were rescued. And these times, actually, did they escape? Were they rescued? And all of those things, why scores of others are still with them. Why this issue? And we look at different implications, especially these school abductions today. The implication on education, actually, because we learned in Kebbi State now, the state government has closed down every school, every basic primary school and secondary school in Kebbi State, while they work on rejigging the architecture of that state. I remember Boko Haram, when it started, it translates to Western education is taboo. That's the haram part of it. So does that mean they are winning? Why we are trying to take precaution right now, especially in Kebbi State, closing down this school. In fact, in Niger State, the governor, Governor Bago said, in northern part of Niger North, most schools and construction sites have been closed down before that attack. So he said he didn't know why the St. Mary Catholic institution will open up their own school, and while they open up, they were attacked, and hundreds of children have been, abducted now. So it means in many parts of our nation, especially in the north, because of insecurity, education is being affected. Doesn't this mean that the will and the wish of Boko Haram is, more like they are winning right now? Because can we do better than we are doing right now? Security is paramount. And that's why Kebbi State government said, while they are rejigging the architecture to forestall these evil events from happening, they have to close down all these schools. So what does this mean? And then many development, especially the governor of Kebbi said it as well, that there was intelligence that was going to happen around that area, and security personnel were deployed to their school. All of a sudden, on a particular night, 3 a.m., they withdrew from that particular school. And less than 1 hour later, that school, government secondary school, Kebbi, was, attacked. It raises so many questions, ladies and gentlemen. Who gave that order for the withdrawal? Was the governor aware? Because it was the governor. The intel came to the state governor, and of course, he escalated the matter. There was an agreement for the security personnel to come in. They came in, and they were securing the school. All of a sudden, the security details or personnel were withdrawn 3 a.m. Before 4 a.m., the school had been attacked. These are some of the issues. So who gave that order for the attack? Who are the ones giving this information to these criminals to say the coast is clear, come and feed? And these are the issues. Does that exonerate the governor himself from saying, I've done what I should do? This is beyond me. And if he's asking, that who gave the attack, the thing is, who did he inform in the first place? Who gave the order actually for the troop to be mobilized? So many questions, and it sounds confusing. Mr. President has said, because of what is happening now, every policeman that has been deployed as private detail, all of them, more than 100,000, should be returned to their barracks right now. No more using of the police how far can he go with that? Because you will agree with me, that order has been said severally, especially by many Inspector General of Police. But now that the Commander-in-Chief has said it with that old water, we look and we unpack so many of these things today. And we have a security scholar with us. He's, so many things. But then simply, Professor Oyesoji Aremu, it just as virtually. Prof, it's good to have you again. Even when it's not good, what is happening, it's always good to speak to people that can give us an insight into what is happening. Good morning, sir. Prof, can you hear me? Good morning.
And as you have said, the mood is not good. Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me. And as you said, the mood is not good, but at the same time, we will not fold our hands, we will not keep quiet.
Right.
We continue to interrogate the situation. We continue to see how we can make life better.
All right.
Especially this time around, talking about our children who are supposed to learn and who are supposed to be in an environment where learning can adequately and seamlessly take place. In the midst of violence, insecurity, teaching and learning cannot take place. So I feel bad. I feel sad about the situation. What happened in the last few days in some of our schools in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. Now, so many things have been said, and it raises so many questions. Why this wave of attack in less than 6 days? All these three latest incidents happened in less than 6 days to themselves. The Eruku situation, the Kebbi abduction, the Niger abduction. Many questions are being raised, especially targeting of these young people every day. And that doesn't say that is the only place the abductions have been happening. Less than 2 weeks ago, we learned on, was it Abuja Kaduna Road or so, there was, abduction that happened when some commuters were stopped on the way and some persons were carted away. Till now, maybe those have been, the negotiation has been between affected families, and abductors, because possibly didn't have this kind of dimension. But here we are. Let's start from this point. You're an academic, so we'll look more into the implication of this on the education. Why do you think this has been sporadic? In less than a week, this huge wave of attack of this magnitude, what do you think is happening for? If you can hear me, go ahead, sir. Okay. We'll try and reconnect with Professor Oyesoji Aremu, and Prof, just like as a security scholar, a DVC with Achievers University, and of course, a professor with the University of Ibadan. Because these are the issues. Why is it this rampant? Actually,
in the state.
Yeah. And when you talk about antecedent and history in Nigeria, it will just trigger something in you to say, are we back to the 2014? 2013, 14, 15. All right, Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Did you hear my question, sir?
No, please repeat the question.
All right,
please.
I mean, we'll look more into the implication of this on education, because I know you are a scholar. But then let's start from here. In all of these recent 3 incidents, and we learned, there was an abduction in Borno State at the weekend. 13 teenage girls have been abducted as well. But these of last week, in fact, added to it, because this is the first reported instance of abduction now. All of these have happened in 10 days. One attack on a worshippers gathering in a church, and this that has happened. Why is this attack this sporadic? Why has it taken this dimension? What do you think is happening?
Thank you so much. Talking about what do I think is happening, we will not be far away from the narratives we've been having in the country for over 2 decades now. Attacks and abductions, kidnappings. As you said, in the last 10 days or thereabout, 3 schools were attacked. There was an attack also on a church. Neruku. Then, just as you said again, 13 teenagers were attacked and abducted from the farm. Unfortunately, these teenagers that were attacked, the farms they were or they were working was also a farm in which they were displaced to. Talking about it was not their original community. So we'll be having attacks and abductions, and it calls for concern, and it cannot be taken away from the already granted insecurity we have in the country that has been on for well over 2 decades. So I think the bandits, the kidnappers, this time around, this is beyond the kidnappers from my assessment. It has to do with the bandits. It has to do with the terrorists coming to kidnap and abduct these pupils and students. So it's a way of also telling the government and security agencies that whatever what you are doing, we are still here and we'll still want to make a statement. Thank you.
All right, Prof. I would like to ask you this before I move to the major question I have. Would you, in your assessment, how would you rate, or not particularly rate, but how would you review, or what is it you would say about the present government? Would you say that this government has been asleep, so to speak? Because a woke government, the way the Gen Zs put it now, would not have all of this, particular pattern of insecurity right before them, happening under their, in their watch, under their noses, and not be, on top of the situation. We have, in the last 5 years, 2,000 plus abductions, and all of those, and not many of them have been brought back home. So a government that has even been criticizing, governments that have been having the same series of abductions, what would you say this government has been, asleep or awake?
Thank you so much. Again, this is a personal opinion, and an informed personal opinion, given what is happening, given what we have interrogated research-wise, even in terms of terms of narratives around. I will not come to a conclusion that the government is sleeping. No, I won't come to that conclusion. But I will come to a conclusion that security-wise, the government seems to be overwhelmed. I must say that, but not sleeping. You will recall that in the last few days, there was a change in the service chiefs, and there was even a meeting, of course, that is a normal thing, with the president and the service chiefs. And again, you also recall that after the meeting, the service chiefs promised Mr. President they will do something about it. One thing I would like us to know is that each time we have a change of service chiefs, the terrorists, the bandits will also go back to the drawing board and strategize or re-strategize. And of course, you also recall what happened the last few days, talking about the message or the threat of the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. And again, there were issues, there were conversations, front and back. Again, you will also know that these bandits and these terrorists are also listening. They also have information about the very, very sophisticated weapons and means of communication as well. Of course, they also want to prove a point. And again, we cannot also wish away the thinking that some of these things will also be politically motivated. You talk about what happened before this government came to power in a few years ago. I'm not talking of the present administration, but talking about the former president, late President Muhammad Buhari. You also recall what happened there, the campaign slogan there was around insecurity. And again, we're also moving towards another election. Of course, 2027 election is coming. And again, there will be issues around insecurity that also form part of the campaign issues. And again, it's like we go back to the cycle that has been happening since the period of Goodluck Jonathan. One of the main reasons, in fact, two factors made Jonathan to lose that election. The first factor was the issue of insecurity. The second factor was the issue of economy. So again, it's like we are back to the same issues again. So the government is not sleeping, but the government is overwhelmed. I'm going to put it that way. And again, for obvious reasons, again, the political tone or dimension is also cannot be wished away.
All right, Prof, I'd like to say this. As much as we may want to, say that the government is not sleeping, all of these parents, all of these people whose wives, whose husbands, whose children are in the abductors' net, you cannot tell them that the government may not be sleeping, because it is happening over and over. We're talking about a consistent pattern. Go to schools and abduct. Go to schools and cut away people and kill, VPs and all of those people. This time around, it's not only students. In one particular school, staff members were carted away. In another one, it was the vice principal that was killed. But that being said, you've talked about political motivation. We cannot rule the fact that there may be no political instigation or all of those things. But what we are talking now is, in other crimes too, we have insecurity issues there. But they are abreast of the situation. Talking about the fact that they get those people, they apprehend them, and in the spate of some years, we do not find the same pattern of insecurity, at least not on the same level. We're now talking about this pattern of abduction and ransom and all of those. Is there no way? The Nigerian military is no small fish to fry. Is there no way we could, as a people, as a state, is there no way we could have intercepted the operations, the intelligence of these marauders? Is there no way? Is this speaking to a failure of intelligence, a failure of planning, a failure of strategy, in our military, architecture? Because what exactly is the problem?
Thank you so much. Number one, I think we should give some credits to the military. Why did I say that? What the military is doing ordinarily is not what they should do. In other words, talking about the internal security is not the duty of the military. It is the duty of the police. That is the reason why I think the president at the meeting held yesterday night now said that police personnel will be withdrawn from the VIPs and other politically exposed individuals. So I want to say that I quite agree with you talking about the money of parents, teachers, even Nigerians on the spate of abductions, kidnappings, insecurity in the land. I must say that nobody likes it. Of course, I will say that. And again, as much as possible, we should note one thing, that right from around, say, when the first school attack happened in Nigeria, that was April 14, 2014, talking about the Chibok girls. Then at that time, that was the period of Goodluck Jonathan. Yes, Jonathan. Then there was also the Dapchi attack, of course. After the Jonathan administration, we moved to President Muhammadu Buhari administration late. Then we also have the Kankara attack, Jangebe attack, and also even Bini Yauri attack, Katsina attack. But let me say that personally, my research team was in Katsina to also investigate this. And of course, there were things we got from the feed. And again, especially, I must also note this, that even the community, members of the community, talking about the intelligence you're talking about now, sometimes they hear they receive intelligence, inform security personnel, and security personnel will not do anything about it. Just like you alluded to this morning about what happened in Kebbi State, the governor said that there was intelligence, and within 30-40 minutes, the security personnel were withdrawn from the school. And within the twinkling of eyes, the bandits of people came, abducted these students. Of course, the question now is, who gave the intelligence? The governor said they gave the intelligence. Why was it not implemented, or why was it not made use of? Why do we have a withdrawal of the security personnel? Of course, the Nigerian army has said they will investigate this and get back to the society, to Nigerians, about what happened. But delay and, of course, saying it without missing any words, things are not good security-wise in the country. And whether students or pupils or anybody, people are not safe. And for this very reason, people feel bitter about it. And again, I must say it emphatically that as much as possible, the government needs to do more on the issue of insecurity.
All right. Now let's look at the education angle today. The Kebbi State government has ordered the closure of all public and private schools as well as tertiary institutions across the state, except the College of Nursing Sciences, Brenin Kebbi. Brenin Kebbi, by the way, is the state capital in Kebbi, and is contained in a statement jointly issued by the Commissioner of Education, Laji Isa Abubakar. The commissioner stated that the closure of both public, private, and state-owned tertiary institutions had become necessary following the recent case of attacks in part of the state. So we talk about the State Polytechnic in Dakingari, Kebbi State University of Science and Technology, Aliru, College of Health Sciences, Technology, Jega, College of Education, Argungu, and all other secondary and primary schools. Now, Boko Haram means Western education is bad. Doesn't it signify that even while this is being taken as a proactive measure, to forestall, this kind of eventuality by the Kebbi State government, isn't this what these bandits, these insurgents, this Boko Haram, isn't this what they want? Niger State governor said it as well, that the northern part of the state, schools and the construction site have been closed down even before the attack. Are these terrorists and bandits not winning as regards education? Because they don't want it, and now schools are being closed. Isn't this what they want all along?
Yeah, thank you so much. If you go back to how it all started in 2009, the ideology of Boko Haram was that Western education is evil, not to be had, of course. But that was the ideology. That was what was being preached to individuals by Shekau and his team. And going back to what you have said now, these people, terrorists, do not want Western education. They don't see it as a means in Nigeria. Then, for that very reason, we now begin to have issues of kidnapping, school abduction, and so on and so on. I must say that it is worrisome. I must say that it is very, very sad. And in a way, for the terrorists and the bandits, they are winning. I must say that they are winning. Apart from the schools that are closed down in Kebbi State, the federal government even announced that, although there was this controversy whether it is true or not, but there was a memo, although the memo too was not properly dated. But we also heard that they said that some government unity schools should also be closed down. But even apart from that, we also hear state governments say schools are closed down in some local governments and so on that are prone to insecurity. In a way, as an educationist, of course, on one part, I must say that this is not good for our educational system. Because if schools are closed down, pupils and students are not in school, other schools are not closed down, pupils and students are in school, they are receiving teacher and learning are taking place. And for that very reason, we now begin to say, what happens? Because whether schools are closed down or not, at the end of the day, there will be examination, either by WAEC or NECO at the end of the day, and they'll be asked to write the same examination. You cannot compare, of course, students who did not access education due to forced closure of schools with those who are in school, receiving teaching and learning. So there will be issues. Then beyond this also, we should also look at what may likely happen in the future, next 5, 10 years or 15 years. For those students or pupils that are not in school, what will they become? Because they will be ready-made tools in the hands of these bandits and terrorists again. Of course, people surely recruit them into the fold and make them also as terrorists and bandits in the future. These are what we should be interrogating. These are what we should be discussing. These are what the government should be looking into. How do we stem this tide so that it doesn't go on like this? So that our students and our teachers will be in school, they will be able to do what they're supposed to do. Parents will also be at, their mind will be at rest. Okay, my pupils or my boy or girl is in school, nothing is happening to him or her. So these are issues. But as you have said, in a way, the Boko Haram element and ISWAP, of course, you know, there are so many splinter groups now, are happy, should be happy about what is happening. And of course, and it's very, very unfortunate for the country, very, very unfortunate for educational industry in Nigeria.
Right. If I may quickly come in here, Prof. All right. It's the fact that, still talking about the education, and then we talk about the government. Right. Because there was a time in the past few days where the Katsina State government, I think, was complaining that in their health facility, they put up a recruitment advertisement, that they needed doctors, almost 300 or so, and they were only able to get 11 doctors. And many persons around where I was were saying, who is going to go to Katsina? This, apart from the international JAPA, there are people that are even, without traveling out of the country, they are leaving that particular state. And these are the issues, because apart from schools closing down, how about the enrollment of new ones into that school? Because there will be people who may think, why should I go and enroll my children into a place that they could be carted away at any time? And you said it as well, that in the next 5, 10 years of these children that are being sent out of schools, locked out of school because of their or the failure of the system to secure them, because this is not the fault of the children, what will they become? The people that are instrumental to them being locked out of the schools, will they not be breathing? Are we not grooming them for the same people to come and join them in the future? And I need you to add this particular time, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has vowed to crush bandits and insurgents and all of those things. He's been having security meetings. How will you describe the reaction, the activities of the government to these issues? Some are saying it's just reactive. Some are saying it has been responsive. What do you think it is?
Thank you so much. I quite agree with you, the data you gave, talking about the advertisement in Katsina State, the health center, and of course, not being able to get numbers required, even far away from the number required by level or so thereabout. The issue is this, and it's very, very simple, as you said. What matters most to an individual after food is our security. If you look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, after school, the next thing is security, safety, your safety. If you want to go to a place, of course, you are not secured, you won't go to that place for anything, for any amount of money. I must put it that way. In Katsina State, from the interview we had with parents and pupils that have been returned, of course, they were the returned from the captivity, let me put that way. Many of them did not go back to school. Parents say no, their ones will not go back to school because one, the schools they are not safe. Talking about perimeter fencing and of other reasons, for that reason, they don't want their ones to go back. Even the children themselves did not want to go back to school. And of course, that will lead to what we said care is not taken. And number two, talking about the response of the president.
Yeah.
As I said, there was a meeting yesterday in the villa, and of course that meeting led to one of the things that we've talked about on this program, that the numbers of police personnel with the VIPs and some big men and big women, as the case may be, are about 100,000 police officers or policemen out of about 371,000 policemen or police personnel we have in the country. If you remove that from that, we are left with about, say, 271 personnel. And we're talking about over 200 million Nigerians, excluding foreigners. Then would they be able to do so? And you should know that ideally and constitutionally, the frontline security personnel in Nigeria are the police. And if they are not there, then what do we do? I think we must give it to the president for saying that. But my worry is this: would that be? In other words, would that be? Because we have some of the past IGPs, including the current IGP, have said it, that they will withdraw police from the VIPs and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, this is not happening. The president has said it again. We need to know whether it will happen or not.
So, before we go, let me ask you this. What should have been the best way to tackle this insurgency, especially from way back? Do you think that state of emergency should have been declared in all of these northern states? I mean, we've had more civil cases where state of emergency has been declared, where we didn't have serious security issues in those places. But here, where we have re-insurgency, in all of those places, should there have been a state of emergency declared? That's on the one hand. Two, the DRR program, the De-Radicalization, Rehabilitation and Reintegration program that took in 2,000 ex-fighters, last year. Do you think that through this means there could have been a mole, or how would I put it now, a kind of weakness, a breach through this, such that we cannot even handle our own anymore, and we're having intelligence breaches and all of those? What exactly do you think?
Yeah, thank you so much. Talking about declaration of state of emergency, you will recall that during the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, he did that. I think it was Borno State, if I'm correct. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, and for that very reason, there was a respite, I must say, a temporary respite. Let me put that way. I think the government, with the service chief, should be able to really assess the situation in some states of this country and surely declare the state of emergency. I quite agree with you. Not necessarily removing the state governors, no. Yeah, they will still be there, but we need to really know that all is not well in some of these states. And for that very reason, I think the government could look into the idea of declaring state of emergency in some states in the country. Coming to the North Central as well, especially Kogi State. So we should be able to know this, for the government to be able to know that as much as possible, we want to really mitigate the tide of the insurgency, terrorist activities, banditry, kidnapping and abduction of our children in schools. We may look into this. And talking about the idea of also looking at your second question, please. Can you remind me again?
I was speaking. Could there have been a possible breach?
Yes, the breach. Yeah, talking about the de-radicalization. You see, one thing I don't subscribe to and I don't like is like we pamper these terrorists and these bandits when they are captured, when they are arrested. Honestly speaking, we pamper them. I'm not saying they should not go through the criminal justice system, fine. But when it takes years to conclude the case, when it takes months to conclude the case, and these people also come back to negotiate, that one of the conditions in which they will not probably attack a community or attack some individuals or public schools is that some of their leaders should be released. We've had this before in this country. For me, it's not a good thing in any way to talk about. So, and when they are even captured, and they go through the so-called de-radicalization, which I've also fought many times, which because talking about the processes, many things are wrong in the processes. You want to de-radicalize an individual who have gone through several stages of radicalization, and you don't want to de-radicalize such an individual within few months or weeks. And all what you are saying is that you want to preach to him, you want to do. I'm not saying preaching, whether Islam or Christianity is not good, but it's beyond. It's go beyond preaching. You have to look at his or her mindset, his or her psychology, try to disorientate him, try to probably go what we call cognitive restructuring for him to be able to know that what is it. In fact, he must get to a situation in which he will say on his own, pull himself down and cry heavily for him to be able to say, I must leave this thing. He didn't do that. All of a sudden, he says he should go back to the same society where he has been able to carry out terrorism and also violence in the country, kill people. And all of a sudden, you know that in some situations also they say they should also be brought to the security personnel, either the military or the police. And you have said it, we may not have a mole in our security who will now begin to give intelligence to enemies. Before you know it, you are talking about preparing for an attack, and before you know it, before you get to the enemies, they have the information already. So what are we talking about? I think we just need to really look into this.
All right, Prof, please stay with us. We are due for a break right now. When we return, there are still so many layers to unravel and to unpack. It's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television NG, and also on Star Times TTT, and then 190. Stay with us.